Good morning, folks. It is September the 12th, here at the Philosophy for Philistines channel, otherwise known as Politics for Plebeians. Welcome back. Again, I'm your host, Bill Reimer, and I have some thoughts today about how to fight the postmodern radicals and the legacy media and their friends in government. RE legacy media and Poilievre derangement syndrome. We noted the other night, Saturday night, that Pierre Poilievre won 300 out of 308 ridings with over 68% of possible votes in the CPC. And of course, the media has reacted exactly as predicted. They had paroxysms of anticipatory horror. So, regarding the legacy media and Poilievre derangement syndrome, this reaction was inevitable. It is the inescapable outcome of woke ideologues being confronted with reality. The shock and horror they are expressing is a result of Pierre Poilievre having had the temerity to state obvious facts. Facts like less government equals more freedom. Our state-funded media propaganda machine demands absolute conformity to a state-mandated social consensus. We need to sever the connection between media and politicians so that never again will news serve to further the government's illiberal agenda. The legacy media's nonsensical rhetoric flies in the face of their constant insults to the traditional values that average Canadians still hold dear. In this regard, to further their radical agenda, there is no unfounded delusion they won't repeat as though it were fact. If we need further proof government-funded media is a mere propagandizing weapon of disinformation, then Poilievre derangement syndrome provides said proof. The reason radicals in media favor the radicals in government is that they both promote the same radical agenda. Asking them why they are doing this fails to recognize who and what they are. Have you ever heard of Nazis and communists admitting that their toxic ideology was and remains a complete tyrannical failure? Everything radicals do is done to further their version of a cultural revolution. Therefore, it is the job of all who love freedom, the rule of law, and constitutionally limited government under proper parliamentary oversight to demonstrate that these folks are revolutionaries driven by pathological narcissism. We need to expose the source of the ideology which motivates them while explaining to the broader public why our way of life is under attack from radicals who have, indeed, a revolutionary agenda. Yet, playing whack-a-mole with them doesn't work. So why is it foolish to play whack-a-mole with the devil? Pointing out that the legacy media's narrative has been self-contradictory is useless. Since, believe it or not, they do it deliberately. Rather go to the heart of the matter by demonstrating where their ideology originates and what its stated goals are. Now, I've done many other podcasts on postmodernism and cultural Marxism. So I'm not going to weigh you down with that now. But that's what lies at the heart of their ideology. And of course it is being disseminated in our universities. And at the heart of their constant harping of redistribution of wealth and resources lies the belief that life is essentially a zero-sum game. The zero-sum game of political narcissists and its pathological imbalance is the next subtitle. Although it sounds utterly fantastic that one can deny the evidence of their own eyes, ears, smell, taste, touch, and all that we know of the use of human reason. Yes, just because this seems fantastic and therefore incomprehensible does not mean that this incredible behavior is not a readily identifiable psychological phenomenon. Let us examine their tactics to rid ourselves of any naivety regarding what we can expect from them as we attack the sources of their mental pathogens. And I quote, "Because of their personality disorder, narcissists tend to live life as a zero-sum game, in which there are only winners and losers in any interaction or relationship. Terrified of feeling like or being viewed as a loser, narcissists use numerous approaches designed to devalue, minimize, and control other people. Many of these tactics come naturally to narcissists and may be hard to spot. 8 of narcissists' most potent tactics. When dealing with narcissistic people, forewarned is forearmed. Number 1, labeling. Narcissists love labels. Knowing that offering a single word may temporarily reduce another's sense of self or silence another can feel incredibly powerful for a narcissist. Examples include calling another person loser, failure, stupid, weak, or needy. Ironically, narcissist labels reveal more about the narcissist than their target. One hallmark of narcissism is the frequent use of the defense mechanism of projection. Projection is when we unconsciously attribute to others feelings and judgments that we cannot tolerate recognizing within ourselves. Narcissists most use labels tend to show their deepest fears about themselves. For example, if stupid is a narcissist's go-to label, it may indicate how desperate they are to feel smart, often in response to deep fears of being inadequate. Or narcissists who love to call others weak may reveal their fear that not being strong would expose them to mortal danger. Number 2, displacing. When we ignore or flee from unpleasant feelings, they may emerge indirectly as disowned aspects of ourselves. Narcissists have little tolerance for painful emotions. As a result, they tend to offload uncomfortable feelings on those around them. For example, narcissists tend to carry a great deal of shame, but it is rarely in their conscious awareness. Instead, they displace their shame on others by trying to make others feel inferior and carry the narcissist's shame for them. For example, narcissists' fears of being illegitimate may lead them to question others' legitimacy. Their fear of being flawed can emerge as harping on another's small misstep in an otherwise exemplary performance. Number 3, exaggerating. Narcissist personality disorder is characterized by distorted views of self, others, and the world. Given narcissist tendencies toward grandiosity, exaggerating is second nature to narcissists. Thus, narcissist looks, accomplishes, and possessions are the greatest, perfect, and the best. Narcissist tendency to exaggerate works in reverse when applied to others. Narcissists may tell you that your comment was the dumbest thing I've ever heard, or your outfit is the ugliest, or your performance was the worst in history. 4, stonewalling. Narcissists have found that never backing down, even when they are wrong, can be a winning tactic. When faced with a narcissist's persistent stonewalling, other people may simply give up and allow the narcissist to do whatever they want, much to the narcissist's delight. 5, scapegoating. Narcissists often blame one individual for a group's problems. In doing so, they gain power, evade any responsibility they have in creating problems, and ostracize their target, which serves as a warning to others who might think of challenging the narcissist. 6, intimidating. Narcissists tend to be bullies. They try to get what they want through verbal, psychological, and emotional brute force. It is important to recognize intimidation and abuse. As the saying goes, if you see something, say something. Remember, intimidation or threatening others is illegal in most places. 7. Gaslighting. Narcissists will deny what you know to be true in an attempt to destabilize you. There was this wonderful Monty Python skit where the wife walked in on her husband who was in bed, her own bed, with another woman. And he proceeded to get up and get dressed. And the wife said, "What you doing in my bed? What are you talking about, dear? Are you feeling entirely well?" It's a fantastic skit. I advise you to look it up because that's what we're seeing. For example, a narcissist may take something that belongs to you right before your eyes, but when you bring it up, deny that it had happened. They will insist you are imagining things, denying all evidence to the contrary. The longer this gaslighting goes on, the more self-doubt you may feel about your own perceptions. 8. Dehumanizing. Much like authoritarian regimes, well in this case exactly like, narcissists classify others as inferior, unworthy, or evil to justify as oppressing or attacking them. They might even call them a fringe minority with unacceptable views. Yes. They may devalue you through dismissive remarks or hostile humor, or treat you as other, seeking to make you feel subhuman and alone. While we can have compassion for anyone suffering from a personality disorder or unhealthy narcissism, we do not have to accept destructive, manipulative, or controlling behavior from anyone. You have the right to be abuse-free in your personal and work space or work life. Stand up for that right. Most importantly, you have the right not to have that in government. This article was written by Dr. Dan Newharth, who's a PhD and a psychologist, and it comes out of Psychology Today from an article written in 2021 on September the 8th of that year. And I've posted the link to it in this podcast, which you will always be able to see both in blog and podcast format all in the same place. So what I do is I upload my video to YouTube and I plug that into my blog. So, and what was the phrase which Pierre used to send the legacy media and the government into paroxysms of writhing horror? Why, personal autonomy and accountability. For it is personal agency they detest, since it limits their hold and control over us. It's the identical reason that the legacy media loathes and mischaracterizes Dr. Jordan B. Peterson. Both these men are advocates of personal agency, autonomy, and responsibility, which is an idea which once lay at the heart of the very concept of the rugged Canadian individual, a hearty pioneer who forged ahead in spite of all life's unfairness and vicissitudes. For these are realities that all the self-entitled narcissism in the world cannot dismiss, assuage, or prevent. Therefore, Pierre Poilievre's next challenge isn't merely defeating Trudeau's government in the next election, whenever that may be. His real challenge lies in defeating this toxic mindset. The toxic mindset of woke ideology, which has permeated the nation. An ideology which has absolutely captivated the pathological narcissists which inhabit both government and its lapdog, the legacy media. We need to sever their narcissistic supply once and for all, by any means necessary. May God himself rid this nation of the curse of postmodern woke ideology, which is poisoning the well of our democracy, to return us to being the true north, strong and free. And may Canadians never forget the abuse we have suffered at the hands of an arrogant, prideful class of Besserwissers who view us as a fringe element holding unacceptable views, because the views that we cherish are the very traditions upon which this nation was founded under God. These are prayerful thoughts for you to think about. I hope I've given you some tools for you to fight this narcissistic attack so that we may rid them of their narcissistic supply and any supply that they may be receiving from us. Quit playing whack-a-mole with them. Pointing out all their inconsistencies does nothing to stop them. Look at the heart of their ideology and expose them for who and what they are. God bless you all. Have a great day.